everyone, I'm Kirsten Winkler of kirstenwinkler.com, and today I got questions for Derek Muller of Veritasium. Derek, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So the first thing, I remember how I read about you, or actually I saw a podcast, I think, or even a video, and you said Khan Academy, nice and good, but doesn't work. And as you are yourself creator of online video, what's the problem about Khan Academy?
Well, first let me say, I kind of chose Khan Academy as a key example of an online video about a scientific area where someone is explaining something very clearly. Mm-hmm. And the research that I did at the University of Sydney for my PhD was about this question: how do you present information about a scientific topic so that people will really get it, they will really understand it? Mm-hmm. I tried making a 7-minute video about Newton's first and second laws, and I stated the laws as clearly as I could. I had clearly drawn animations, I had graphs and diagrams, and we went through 3 examples where we tried to make Newton's first and second laws very concrete, mm-hmm. Very applicable. And at the end of the video, all the students who watched it said that they understood better Newton's first and second laws, and they sat a test, the same test mm-hmm. before and after, so I could assess what sort of difference in learning they had. Mm-hmm. And for students who had never seen, who had never really done university physics, so they may have done some physics as part of science in grade 10, yeah. Those students who were in that group, they had statistically 0 increase in their score, mm-hmm. even though they had the same questions before and afterwards. Now, having said that, I might point out that higher knowledge groups, so students who had done more high school physics, like grade 11 and grade 12, mm-hmm. they did do better with this mm-hmm. video. Mm-hmm. But students who had seen, who only had sort of very basic physics, and then had it clearly explained to them in what I thought was, a very well-designed video that was based on textbooks and things like that, their learning was 0. So based on that, I guess I'm coming to videos like the Khan Academy saying, what I've found is those videos make people think they're learning, but mm-hmm. when you actually assess it objectively, very little learning seems to take place. Yeah.
I think you make a very important point here, because this is actually one of my 2 points of criticism about Khan Academy, that when I look back and how not only he was presented in the beginning, but how he said it himself, the channel and the videos were designed for people who had learned this topic once throughout their either school career or university career. So they had a certain knowledge about the topic, but it was really to come back and brush it up and refresh it. And also, when he talked at that time about his cousins, I mean, they studied that at school, and he was just sort of the facilitator, or gave them a little extra help, but they were being taught in that topic. And I think this sort of synchronizes very much with your 2 student groups to verify whether there was a real effect of that video experiment you did. And now that Khan Academy is presented as this new shining star who knows who is the answer to all our problems in our education systems, it is sort of a dynamics I think he didn't know about, and he also didn't have the attention to evolve into this, or to turn into this phenomenon. So whereas the second point of criticism, for at least in my opinion, about Khan Academy is that he says, if you know it 10 times in a row, you know it. And I genuinely disagree. I would say, okay, you know it for that moment in time, but everything you read or educate yourself about spaced repetition in languages, but also in other subjects. So sciences, I think, contradicts this 10 in a row thing completely. So yeah, I think there are definitely issues about also the methodology behind it, and well, also now the way it's presented. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, maybe he needs to think about sort of more structuring of, if you get 10 in a row right now, and then a week later you get a summary test where you have to do more questions from, all of the modules that you've completed in the last week or the last month, or you do a review module or something. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I like the interactive aspects of Khan Academy, and the ideas I was hearing him express about perhaps using worldwide tutors or peer tutors, that sort of thing. Maybe that could be a useful idea. So I think a lot of these ideas are good ones. I'm just sort of questioning the efficacy of just a video as a teaching device, given the results of my research.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, as we both produce video content online, so I think it's obvious that we believe in online educational video and its effect on students, probably just not only as the only mean of education. And so let me ask you, Derek, based on your findings, how did you tweak your own videos then to make them more effective for your target group?
Well, there are a lot of initiatives that have happened in the field of physics education research. One of them, for example, is called peer instruction, has been championed by a professor at Harvard named Eric Mazur. And in a lot of his classes, he does much less lecturing, and he involves the students in kind of dialogues with each other. So setting up a problem, perhaps a prediction that needs to occur for an experiment, and then he gets the students to really discuss it with each other. And I was thinking to myself, well, is it necessary that you are one of those dialogue participants? Or if you were watching two people discuss these ideas, and the ideas that you had in your head, could you learn from watching a discussion? And this also goes to another sort of bigger learning theory called social constructivism, which is an idea about, internalizing the ways of reasoning through watching people reason with each other. And I thought, okay, well, the obvious thing to do is to, instead of just presenting correct information, present incorrect information, and in fact draw diagrams of this incorrect information, the ways that people could think of things wrongly, but clearly articulated by someone, as if they're earnestly believing that. And then have them discuss that with the tutor, where the tutor is sort of pointing out places where the reasoning might not quite work. Right, and having that model student on the video, have them sort of think about it and
yeah, I watched that video. That's a great one. So.
Well, I don't know if it was technically that great. My capabilities have been improving over the years, but yeah, it got the point across. And when I looked at how the students learned with that video, they nearly doubled their score from the pre-test to the post-test. And still, they weren't, getting up near perfect, but they were doing a lot better immediately after watching that video than after watching a correct video. And I was fairly confident in my research methodology because all of the students who watched these videos just did it in their own time, and they did it online, and they were randomly assigned by the computer which treatment they got. So I was very hands-off with the experiment, and to see that strong of a result come through, even with the chance of all this noise interfering because people are discussing it or whatever, not watching the videos actually. I mean, maybe they didn't, I don't know. But still, we see this strong effect of having a video in which there are people discussing incorrect ideas alongside correct ones, and sort of seeing the reasoning that brings you to the correct answer. So that seems much more effective.
Yeah. So of course, today there is quite a bit of talk going on that of course we have to innovate in education and in almost any field, and there are of course there's a lot of research carried out and a lot of studies and reports being made, and then more in the startup world that people also build products to solve this or the other pain points maybe and facilitate some things and integrate new media. And well, we apparently both believe that also online educational video has its place. In the overall thing, where do you think online education or education itself will evolve, and how would you think from both the researcher but now also the active producer point of view, what should become different?
Well, I guess that's a very big question, but in my estimation, we're going to see learning becoming more of using a different ecology of resources. So people will use online videos, people will use Wikipedia, and they'll still use textbooks or some magazines or newspapers. You know, it just seems like, or they'll use Twitter feeds and things. You know, information will come from so many different sources, and I think it'll become so much more readily available that the key, I guess, attribute, and I'm sure a lot of people have talked about this, but you know, the key is being able to discern what is good and what is bad, what information is relevant and what's not. And so in that case, it's really useful to have reliable people or reliable organizations that can be trusted to produce, correct information or to summarize, do reviews, essentially, do synthesis. Synthesis is so important, and it's one of those things that I wish is done or should be done more in educational research, because to me it feels like there's all these disparate camps all over the place and very few researchers trying to bring things together. So, on the research side, I'm asking more people to sort of come together and see where they really agree and disagree, and I'd like to be part of that synthesis on the research side. On the producer side, I would like to be one of those figures that is in a way trusted to, sort of point at the correct sources and to bring out, be a reputable, responsible source of scientific information if people are seeking that.
So yeah, then Derek, people who want to reach out to you, where should they tweet or write or at?
They can reach out to me in whichever way they like, on Twitter, on Facebook, on the YouTube channel. I read sort of things coming in from users on all sides, and try to respond as much as I can, and I just really appreciate the feedback from everyone.
And
keeps me motivated.
And I really appreciate that you talked with me today, and thanks again. That was really fun.
Oh, well, thanks for having me.